So whenever I'm working on videos for my channel, there's always sort of this pile of back burner content that I'm always thinking about eventually getting to, content that really honestly, creatively excites me. And to be honest, sometimes the thought of eventually getting to do those projects is what helps me get through a lot of these smaller things that I'm a little bit less passionate for. And out of all the movies that I've decided to review this year, the one that I've been looking the most forwards to has been the upcoming sequel to The Thinning, or as I like to call it, The Thinning, because it sounds better. It just does. Now, I reviewed the first film several months ago, and in that video, I jokingly implied that the sequel, which was hinted at the end of the movie, would never actually come out. And then later, it turned out I was completely wrong, because production on that sequel wrapped in December 2017. And then after that, it turned out I was actually right, because the movie is now cancelled. I trust that anyone watching this in the present knows what Logan Paul did to get his YouTube Red movie cancelled, but if you're in the future, if you go to the description, you'll find another video I've made about it. Now, there's a lot of history to this case that goes far behind the recent Logan Paul controversy. Back during one of the earliest PewDiePie controversies, YouTube cancelled the release of Season 2 of his show, Scare PewDiePie, and removed the special privileges that he had on the site. So when Logan Paul came out of the woodworks and did something even more universally detestable, YouTube essentially had to follow the exact same standards, or else it would look like they were picking favorites. Right now, there's not a huge amount of crossover between internet personalities and real Hollywood celebrities, but in the future I think it'll be even less likely for that to happen, because so many big YouTubers who represent the platform are illustrating themselves as ticking time bombs waiting to cause a controversy. Now, to clarify, The Thinning 2 is only officially put on hold, which means it's cancelled. I know some people have hope that it'll get released somehow, but think of it like this. The moment that YouTube decides to put this movie out, the moment, they will get a barrage of horrifyingly biased clickbait titles. And that's especially true now that they've made such a huge deal about the film being put on hold. And just like is the case with Scare PewDiePie Season 2, it looks like, unless there is some sort of ginormous leak, we are never going to get to see The Thinning 2, which I honestly think is a bit of a shame. I mean, there are so many people who worked on this film and poured countless hours into it. You know, writing scripts, rewriting scripts, all the directors, all the other personalities other than Logan Paul, all these up-and-coming stars who set aside time in their busy schedule to try and contribute to this, and god damn it, I wanted to see how bad it was gonna be. For those of you unacquainted with the original film, the plot revolves around a universe where the United States of America kills students who don't get good grades so they can avoid overpopulation or something. But then Logan Paul and some girl discover a massive conspiracy in their specific school, and that how you do on the test has almost nothing to do with whether or not you will be executed. Specifically, a plotline is about the fact that Logan was supposed to be executed. Logan's father then throws Logan under the bus in a futile attempt to make the system look less corrupt, and it's amazing how life imitates art, isn't it? But the twist at the end is that all the people who were supposedly killed actually are slaves now, and they make iPads for the government. Ooh. The Thinning 2 would have seen Logan Paul attempting to break out of this prison with his girlfriend, who we thought was dead in the first movie, so that they can reveal the truth to the entire world. So by the film's estimation, 5% of students are killed every single year. Now, if you pay attention to any of the scenes and you can do any basic math, you realize it's way higher than 5%, but that's besides the point. Let's just go with 5% for the simplicity of it. Now, in the movie, it's mentioned that some states do not do the thinning, but the movie is set in Texas, so let's just focus our efforts on Texas specifically. So presuming that this testing has been going on for several generations, and going along with the claim that 5% of the population is purged, then that's 1 million Texans who are secretly taken to secret government bases to build iPads. And The Thinning 2, a movie that we now do not get to see. The plot of this movie would be that out of 1 million people at least, Logan Paul would be the first person to break out of this maximum security prison that no one outside of this prison even knows about. And he also would have taken his girlfriend. You see, I think the people who made the Thinning franchise had it in their heads that Logan Paul was some sort of teenage dreamboat Bruce Willis, but that's really not how he comes across. In the original movie, he just came across as a really, really boring guy who would occasionally make irrational, sudden decisions that would lead to him beating up random police officers for no apparent reason. So the idea here is that Logan Paul just is totally 100% in this mindset, and he breaks out of the best prison in the world, not by strategy, not by paying attention to the system, but just by, walking around and punching anything that moves. As a reminder, in the first movie, Logan Paul couldn't break his way out of a high school, but Area fucking 51, he's got that shit in the bag. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't give a shit about the fact that I'm not going to get to see Logan Paul in a second movie. Logan Paul isn't the star of the Thinning franchise. I'll tell you who's the star of the Thinning franchise.
Out of the way, bitches. Wade Freeman, all-star quarterback. Represent!
This guy shows up halfway into the first Thinning movie and just says the weirdest stuff in his first scene, just drawing attention to himself in the worst ways. And for the rest of the movie, he is just there, always drawing attention to himself in weird, small ways, always making sure that the audience knows that he's in the scene. Until the finale, when he's dragged off to be killed with Logan Paul.
Bro, that's my throwing arm, bro!
Which means that he is with Logan Paul when Logan Paul goes into the slave camp. And in my mind, a mind that will never need to know if it's right or wrong, Wade Freeman becomes the main character of the second Thinning movie.
Represent!
I checked IMDb, and he is credited for the sequel, so he is, in fact, supposedly in the second movie. I also see a credit for someone playing Dead Body. It's funny, when I did my review of the first Thinning, I speculated that the reason that the movie was so heavily advertised was that YouTube had been forced to cancel their most promising YouTube original project, Scare PewDiePie. And now it's come around that the Thinning franchise has come down to the exact same fate. YouTube obviously wants their Red originals to be huge, and I mean, can see it from my hotel, huge. But they just can't catch a break, can they? Just think about how little these projects must make for YouTube, that they could scrap ginormous expenditures that would probably be immensely successful just to avoid having their brand connected to a controversial name. And once again, I have to wonder if this trend is going to have a very negative effect for YouTubers wanting to become bigger things. The Paul brothers have become the biggest example of a YouTube team even slightly succeeding in that effort, and they've probably left a really negative impression on the brand. So from here on out, it's either going to be really interesting or really dull, but I feel like it's not going to be the same. If they ever do release The Thinning 2, obviously I'll review it. And honestly, if something happens like the script leaks or clips of it float around online, I'll even be willing to talk about it in that manner. But in a way, I almost feel like it's better that I do never see it. Because in my head, it's so hilariously bad that I'm terrified that it might be slightly less bad than that in the real world. I think I couldn't handle that. I think that would be my final crushing blow. I honestly do. I think that would destroy me. But on the other hand, I can't lie, and I have to admit that I am going to lose a lot of sleep over the numerous scenes that must exist in some cupboard somewhere of Wade Freeman, all-star quarterback, that I will never get to see. And with that, I've been Quidden Reviews, and that's all you need.